You look like you're in a very sunny place right now. Is that true? Is that accurate?
I would say so. I'm in Atlanta, so it's pretty sunny here.
Nice. I love Atlanta. I shot a couple episodes of Dynasty out there a couple of years ago, and that was my first time to Atlanta. I was had a really good time.
Did you enjoy it?
Loved it. Just loved it. Yeah.
I loved you on Dynasty, by the way. I'm gonna get into some of your other projects a little bit
Okay.
later, but I
Cool.
definitely want to talk about Departing Seniors. How fun was this for you to start off?
It was an absolute ball. So we shot it sort of in the middle of the pandemic kind of thing. So I had been sort of at home in Toronto. I hadn't traveled at all. I hadn't worked in a long time. And I booked this role and got to fly out to Chicago, which where I had never really spent any time at all. And
Hmm.
got to know that city and got to meet so many amazing, talented artists in Chicago. And it was really just like the whole thing was just, it was just a dream, honestly. It was like, it was just great.
I asked Ignacio this, but I want to know what's your feel on horror movies? Are you usually a fan or
So a straight up horror film, I generally doesn't do a ton for me. Like going to like the movie theater to get scared and stuff. Like there's enough going on in the world to feel afraid about that. It's really not my genre per se. I
sure?
do gravitate to, I do like horror films that have other layers and levels, whether it's a social or political commentary, if it's something to do with sci-fi, if there's comedy in there. And that's one of the things that really appealed to me about this script was like obviously it's in the horror genre, but it's also a drama and a comedy and sort of like a coming of age story. And the
Hmm.
way I kind of looked at it was like a sort of almost like a metaphor for a lot of the challenges that young people go through in high school and growing up and in school and so on. And that was really appealing to me. I felt like it was much more than a horror film.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things that I liked about it as well. I feel like there was so much underneath the surface
Totally,
that was going on with a lot of the characters.
totally.
If we talk about Brad, if we talk about I forgot the young lady's name, but even her character
Yeah,
dealing with anxiety and trying to be perfect, there were so many other layers to it than just being this campy horror, which I think people are going to immediately resonate with.
I think the horror genre kind of gives it a platform or some scaffolding to then go in and explore these other things that then really become the center of the film. And for me, like just the relation, well, there were a lot of relationships in the film, but the main relationship between Arian and Ignacio, the two leads, is just felt like this really special, lived in, warm kind of high school best
It did.
friends
I thought
relationship.
they were best friends for their entire lives, the way that they were acting in this
Was
film. It was
unbelievable.
incredible.
Yeah. So it really
Yeah.
brought us all back to, I think, a feeling of like being in school and being really nostalgic about that. And
Mm.
so it was really very much more than a horror film, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I would say so too. And I mean, even your character has this strong connection with Javier. And we've seen this a lot in movies too, where there's like a teacher that's kind of that support system or a teacher that a student feels close to. What was that like working with Ignacio and just like kind of trying to find the layers of that relationship?
Yeah. There was a lot there, to start off with, I met Ignacio and I immediately just thought I just kind of had a love for him. He does remind me in a lot of ways of myself when I was younger. I see a lot of myself or just what it was like to get started in the industry. And so that immediately just made me feel very protective of him and very interested and excited for the journey he's on, and I really wanted to connect with him just
Hmm.
off camera. We were both in Chicago. We'd flown in from other cities, so we're staying at the same hotel and so on. I think I think Mr. Arda, is older than the other students, but he still really wants to connect with them and he wants
Yeah.
to be part of that group. And as I get older, I have those feelings too of being wanting to be on set, like we all do, still wanting to like be in that crowd and so on. So that was
Hmm.
really easy to kind
Yeah.
of to play that.
Mhm. And
And
that
and
Oh no, you go ahead.
It was an interesting role for me because I'm in a transitional part in my life where I'm, historically I played a lot of like student roles or whatever, and now I'm, getting cast as the teacher. And so to play sort of a younger teacher who is still has one foot in the world of high
Mm,
school experience really suited sort of where I'm at in my life.
yeah.
And we forget, sorry to go long on this, but like we forget that teachers are people too, right?
Hmm.
And I felt like with Mr. Arda, I was able to bring a little bit of his own personal life and experience into the classroom. So he wasn't just this sort of like polished teacher who knew all the right answers, but he was actually a person who had his own experience too. And that kind of comes out.
Yeah. I mean, even now that you bring that up, that makes a really great point. In a lot of these movies that are set around teens, the teacher's just like kind of there. You don't kind of really explore their world that often. So getting to see who Mr. Arda is and kind of get that insight is very cool. So I don't want to spoil anything, but at the end, there may be a sequel, maybe not. How
We
you
were,
feeling about that?
we we were at the bar last night after we had the premiere last night, and we went out for there was like had like a little reception, and a couple of us, like a couple of actors, Ryan and Maisie, me and Claire and Jose were chatting about sequel, right? And we
Mhm.
all like had an idea or whatever. And then eventually we just turned to Jose, who's the writer, and we're like, maybe we should ask you what your idea is for the sequel. This is your film and you did write it.
Yeah,
And he gave a few ideas, and I think that'd be very early stages. Like we have to see how the film does first. But I
yeah,
do think it is the kind of film that's squarely in that genre
absolutely.
that lends itself to new chapters. And I would be so excited to be involved in another movie of
Yeah,
in this story. But at the same time, also if it goes in a different direction, I'd be just so excited to see where the story goes. But it is a
me
great
too. When
people.
I saw that, I was like, perfect. Like I was telling Ignacio, I was like, you are going to be our first final boy. Like, move over Sidney Prescott. So, um, and before I let you go, you are, you've been a part of some very iconic stuff, and I can't let you get out of here without us talking about it because the fans would absolutely kill me.
Ask
Um,
me. Yeah.
Pretty Little Liars, 90210, but most iconic of all, the Lizzie McGuire movie. Like, I can't even process that I'm talking to you right now because I'm like, you were every young teen girl's crush. Like, you were one of the first people's like, Paolo Valsari. Like, what are your memories from that time? This is, people are gonna love this. Like, you know what I mean?
Uh, it's when you book a job as an actor, you never know what it's going to be, right? Like you go to
Of
the
course.
audition, maybe you like the script, the character, whatever. You do your best. Maybe you hear back, maybe you don't. You never know what it's going to be. I mean, and so with that film, I had no idea. I hadn't actually even really watched the show. I think I was sort of aware of it. I was aware of Hilary Duff, but I didn't really watch the show. And booked the job, and then very quickly thereafter, like I'm on a plane heading to Italy for the first time. And then I'm getting off the plane and we're running actual rehearsals, near the Coliseum, in markets, at the Trevi Fountain. Like, and
Yeah,
I'm just like, what is going on right now? Like, in some ways, like this is kind of low key. My actual experience in life filming that would have been more like Hillary's character in the movie, of just experiencing all this crazy stuff for the first time.
right.
It was incredibly exciting. It was overwhelming. It was just like a sort of a dream. And then you finish doing it and you kind of move on. And like we didn't really have social media back then, so it kind of in some ways went away. And then as social media has become more popular, I've sort of become aware of how big a fan base the film actually does have. And so I get more messages and shout outs about it and memes and all that stuff now than I did when the film first came out.
Yeah.
And so it's just been this incredible gift that keeps on kind of giving throughout my life. And I love meeting people who have watched the film. People are often in Italy. They send me a photo at the Trevi Fountain, and like, and I always write back to them. And, it's just this lovely kind of conversation that I'm having with fans as they watch the film and grow up with it. And as I sort of like grow up with having done the film and get to go on to other work in my career too. So yeah, just amazing experience all around.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally gonna transcend time, if I'm being honest with you. Like it's, I remember I went to the theater to see it on the very first day, and then I have a younger sister, so now she's seen it. So like, how many times do people come up to you and they say, "Sing to me, Paolo"?
Gosh. You know, it
Enough.
happens online. It happens a lot online, you
Okay.
know. Write it
Okay.
in the caption, you know. I'll post something and the first response is sing to me, Paolo. Um, yeah, but it happens for sure, you know, or I get recognized for it, or but yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the line though? Do you remember like your
Oh,
line?
I remember that moment. I was supposed to get on stage to sing that song, and there was an acting coach on stage, and I was like, how should I do this? You
Mhm.
know, and he's like, Yanni, just get up there and try to just sing as best as you can and as loud as you can, and just
Oh,
I and I was like, okay, and that's what came out. And so yeah.
you're really not a singer.
Well, the funny thing is I do actually sing a little bit and I do write music.
Really?
It's not pop, it's very low key, kind of quiet, sort of
Okay.
I don't have like a big confident voice. I've been actually trying to work on that with like a singing coach for a long time now. Um, so yeah, it is kind of true to life that I'm not the world's greatest singer. No.
But what if you were able to redeem yourself and you just put out like a 5 second, 10-second TikTok for all of us out there and just sing the line and it's like,
That's gonna happen.
okay,
But what I think it's gonna be, I don't know. I only get to do that once, so I got to figure the right moment.
right.
What I would really like to do as a just to practice that is, I've never sung it at karaoke before, so
Mhm.
and I've only just recently started doing karaoke. So like the next time I'm at a friend's birthday or whatever, I'm gonna get up there and give it another try, and hopefully someone will film that and we'll put that up.
No, they have to film it. They have to. Like it's too
Hey,
iconic.
listen, I wanted to mention to you, I don't know if you've been on my Instagram page, but I filmed a little spoof Paolo sequel trailer. Go about like 5 images down. It's sort of like it's very dark black square. Just watch it and let me know what you think, okay?
I will. I'm going to message you right now. Like you don't understand. I was so excited to talk to you about this movie, but just like Lizzie McGuire fans, like we're here and we're so present. So, and
Let's
you're a part of history.
start the petition for the sequel. Watch my little spoof trailer and then let's start the
Okay.
petition for the sequel.
Okay, I will. I will. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait for everyone to see you and Departing Seniors. It's going to be great. They're going to be shocked and excited. And you've just done so much commendable work, like in these genres that really touch people, Pretty Little Liars, like these iconic shows. So I'm just so happy to see you and see you in this. And I'm going to check that out.
Thank you. Such a treat meeting you, and I hope we get to chat again.
Likewise, likewise, me too for the sequel.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.